Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the regular scheduled Taber Town Council meeting for Monday, November 20th, 2022. We'll call the meeting to order and just advise council we're in need of striking item 8.4, Scotiabank presentation. The presenters are unable to attend today, so I'll just ask for the adoption of the agenda as amended, please. Call the meeting to order and ask for the adoption of the agenda as amended, please. Councilor Bruin.
I can make that motion. We adopt the agenda as presented, as amended.
Motion on the table. All in favor? Carried unanimous. Thank you. And just for the record, Councilor Sorensen is not able to attend today. Councilor Beckering.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just for matter of record,
Yes.
it's Council First's birthday today, so let's wish you a happy birthday.
All right. Thank you, Councilor Beckering, and happy birthday, Councilor Firth.
Is that a motion?
We can make it a motion if you like. All right, thank you very much. On to item number 4, adoption of minutes. Item 4.1, minutes, regular meeting of council, November 14th, 2022. Mr. Thibault.
Good afternoon, Council. Just the regular meeting minutes in front of you for your consideration.
All right, thank you. Any questions arising, comments? Someone prepared to make a motion? Councilor Firth.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that council adopts the minutes of the regular meeting of council held on November 14th, 2022 as presented.
Motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. No business arising. Item 6, bylaws. Item 6.1, proposed fee bylaw 18-2022. Mr. Thibault.
So in front of Council is the third reading of the fee bylaw. There has been some adjustments made since the first reading, and Mr. Orwa can speak to those adjustments if there's some questions.
All right, thank you. Any questions arising for Mr. Orwa?
Good afternoon, members of council. Maybe if there are questions arising, maybe that's what we could respond to, but we did make some adjustments, and I think some of those adjustments are already appearing on the RFD. One was for the home occupation business license, because there was a request to separate them. We did that, and then from recreation side, I think we were moving from Red Cross to Life Saving Society. There were some differences there, and I think the other one was just to incorporate the infrastructure fee, renewal fee. And then apart from that, the rest are the things that had already been discussed during the first reading. So the fee bylaw, the new one is there, and I think they're all highlighted. If at all, maybe council still needs some clarification before we go through the third reading.
All right, thank you. Any questions arising? None whatsoever. Oh, Councilor McLean.
Oh, I have no questions. I'm just prepared to make a motion, Mr.
Very well.
I move that council gives third reading to fee bylaw 18-2022.
All right, thank you. Motion on the table. Any further discussion? Councilor Beckering.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to ask any councilors, and the mayor included, if there's any feedback from the general population regarding this bylaw. I haven't had any, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. I also have not. Anybody else? All right, general consensus same. Perfect, thank you. All right, once again, we do have a motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 6.2, proposed business license bylaw 19-2022. Mr. Thibault.
Administration is looking for the second and third final reading for this bylaw. The adjustment that was made in the original one was just moving the fees from the business license bylaw into the fee bylaw that was just approved. So this was just to update them both at the same time. That's the only change that there was. However, Amy Allred is here if there were some other questions that needed to be addressed.
All right, thank you. Any questions arising? Councilor Rutt.
There's a spelling correction required at 7.12.2. Maybe change that word.
And what word is that specifically?
It says form, should be from.
Form to from?
Yes.
All right,
And with that, I'd be prepared to make a motion, Mr. Mayor.
all right.
The council gives second reading to business bylaw 19-2022.
All right, thank you. Motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Someone prepared to make the second required motion, third and final reading. Councillor Firth.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move the council gives third and final reading to business license bylaw 19-2022.
Thank you. Motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. On to item 7, action items. Item 7.1, Energy Manager of the Year Award. Mr. Tebow.
So we've got Mr. Blake Horanek here, and if you could go through the presentation, Mr. Mayor, that would be appreciated.
All right, thank you.
Oh, gosh. Why is it always this side? It's terrible.
Absolutely, yes, thank you. All right, Councillor Beckering.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Prepared to make a motion
Absolutely.
that council congratulate Mr. Blake Horanek on his Municipal Energy Manager of the Year award and thanks him for his contributions to the town's engineering and waste and public works team.
All right, thank you. Motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. On to item 7.2, Alberta Community Partnership Grant Applicational. Mr. Tebow.
Mr. Scheer is approaching the bench, and he's going to be presenting what this ACB grant's about.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Alberta Community Partnership Grant Application, we've done this before, we did it last year for stormwater regional modeling and for that master plan. So now we're looking at a wastewater plan. Through economic development, we looked at many companies coming here looking for processing plants. There's 3 clear items they're looking for: water, wastewater, and transportation. So this kind of connects it all in. Looking at wastewater, we'll be looking at many different facets of wastewater. I mean, what our existing system is, what a regional system looks like, and where it should go, who's going to be looking after it, many different things. One big item is we'll also be looking at the operation of maintenance of the facility, and it could be just expansion of our current facilities. So we got to just let the report work it out, and then we'll discuss it after the report's done. But we're just looking for council's endorsement of the grant.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Mr. Scheer? Councillor Beckering.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Scheer, so this project, the grant application here is just to do the study, correct, sir?
That is correct. So it's 100% funded. It's up to $200,000. We'd be going for the $200,000.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councillor Bruin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to make a motion that council moves the town of Taber supports the submission of the 2022-23 Alberta Community Partnership Grant application in support of the Regional Water Master Plan, wastewater Master Plan project, and is prepared to manage the grant project and related compliance requirements.
All right, thank you. Motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. On to item 7.3, Alberta Community Partnership Grant Application. Mr. Tebow.
Mr. Tebow is going to speak to this one. So I've been in contact with CAO Arliss Crofts next door at the MD, and this is another ACP grant application. Parameters just exactly the same as the last grant we talked about. This is for a regional water treatment facility. So CAO Crofts, myself, have already touched base with Town of Coaldale CAO and Lethbridge County CAO, And we're all looking to sign this agreement together, with the MD being the managing partner. And the region we're looking at, it would be obviously somewhere between sort of Lethbridge and Medicine Hat. So we kind of form a middle region in there in our estimation, and that's what we're going to be looking at trying to service. Any questions? I'm here.
All right, thank you. Any questions arising? Councilor McLean?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So is the point to save money by doing this?
So there's a lot of collaboration grants going on with ACP, and the idea would be an overall savings and perhaps a collective system that services a larger area. So there is savings for all of the groups involved, ideally, but there would be some, when the study's done, there'd be some pretty significant capital outlay for a new water treatment plant if it's decided that that's the option. But just like the other ACP grant, it could be that there's an expansion to our own. There's a whole bunch of options, and that's what's going to be studied.
Can I have a follow-up, Mr. Mayor?
Absolutely.
So then would we get rid of our current wastewater treatment plant? Would this replace that?
If I were to guess, and we built a new plant, our plant would then very likely serve as a distribution hub. So the water treatment plant itself, the treatment portion would disappear, but we would still use a lot of it to do the distribution throughout the town's system.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilor Rudd? All right, thank you. Councilor Beckering?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Tebow, I noticed the application includes the town of Coaldale. But I've given to understand that the town of Coaldale is hooked onto the city of Lethbridge. Is that correct, sir?
The town of Coaldale is connected to a City of Lethbridge pipeline at this point. We're not looking to do any type of a competing interest. There is east of Coaldale that may be better serviced. The study would determine that, if they may be better serviced by something from this direction, based on the infrastructures that already exist coming from the City of Lethbridge. So yes, you're correct.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. Any other questions arising? All right, someone prepared to make a motion? Councilor Firth?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that council moves that the town of Taber supports the submission of the 2022-23 Alberta Community Partnership Grant application in support of a regional water treatment facility study, and allow the MD of Taber to manage the grant project and related compliance requirements.
All right, thank you. Motion on the table. Councilor Bruin?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Question though, this, I think being in control of our own water treatment plant is important to the town. To go to a regional water treatment facility, I think the study may be good, but that's all it will be, is a study for now. It's not, because I like the town treating its own water myself. Instead of one big one, if there's a problem with one facility, it all goes down.
So you're correct. It is just a study and 100% funded through the grant, and the study would suss out whatever various options that we might want to look at. So there'd be nothing past the study at this point.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Once again, we do have a motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 7.4, $2 billion tree grant. Mr. Tebow?
Mr. Egan is here, and I believe he's going to speak to this one.
All right, thank you. Mr. Egan?
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council.
Good afternoon.
So this RFD concerns a grant opportunity that the town has responded to, presented by the Department of Natural Resources Canada. The grant addresses, so we've offered the trout pond as the site to meet basically two basic criteria, some capacity building and some tree planting. In September of this year, Council approved 4 projects related to the trout pond, which would consume the $562,737 of remaining funding for that facility. This RFD asks Council to do 2 things: to remove or defund the expansion of the campground, which was one of those 4 previously approved projects, in order to make way and allow $126,500 of the West Trail expansion funds to be redirected to serve the town's commitment to the 2 billion tree program grant. The total grant budget will be $545,000, $700, of which $300,000 is a grant from the government, and then we make up the both dollar contribution and then some in-kind contribution. So no direct costs. We'll just utilize our own staff and existing staff time in the operating budget for the in-kind contribution. And the work will be done, led by the Recreation Department and be completed next summer.
All right, thank you. Councillor Beckering.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, Chris, project cost $545,700. Is that just trees?
No, there is one major component of the grant is trees, and so we've budgeted for 400 trees, and that's our commitment to the province. The other components are hosting what they've called capacity building activities, so training for Public Works and ourselves to do arborist work ourselves, tree planting training, and then work with several schools and other community groups to, they'll assist us in planting trees, and they'll learn about tree planting, tree care, and other arborist work in the process. So the majority is those 400 trees.
Councillor Beckering, you bet.
Follow on, Mr. Mayor, if I may. So what you're telling me, you're gonna plant 400 trees for $545,000. That's $1,200 a tree, $1,300 a tree. I mean, that seems ridiculous.
So that is a lot when you look at it that way. That's not the total project budget. There is some design work that will be done to do a master plan for that particular site that will identify where and when the trees go in. There's also, I guess I should have included that with the tree planting goes irrigation.
All right, you bet. Thank you. Councillor Rudd.
Yeah, so what becomes of the campground project then?
So the campground project will be first priority of future next time. Yeah, there will be, so the campground expansion project is the last known or quantified project that we have on the list. But before we're complete with the trout pond and that West Trail expansion, there will be numbers of projects over the next probably decade or so. And so it just rises as priority one for new funding.
So the irrigation was put in already, right? Okay.
So there's irrigation was put in this summer for the existing sites. Campsites, that is.
What about the, sorry, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, absolutely, you bet.
What about the shoreline access? Is that part of this as well, that we would be giving up? And
So no, that's part of the previously approved 4 projects. So the accessibility access to the water is still
still on?
in, yes.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Yeah, just to maybe clarify, I guess, Councillor Rudd wasn't part of the committee meeting, so some things that came up there would include planning for the next stage, next phase, which would include where some of those trees would go. So in essence, where the campsites may likely go, assuming that's approved down the road as well. So it's an actual expert that would be approving, or sorry, not approving, recommending rather, the plan, right? The design plan. So
Yes.
if that makes more sense, it's a plan, a little bit longer term plan, but not necessarily all that may be done this year, but possibly depending on other grant availability, et cetera. So it's certainly not off the table entirely, but just for the moment with that plan in place, correct?
Correct.
All right, thank you. Councillor Firth?
I was actually just going to provide the information that you just did.
Oh, sorry, okay, all right.
All good.
All right, thank you. Councillor Bruin?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to clarify though, still, we are going ahead with the playground and camp kitchen.
Yes.
That's
And
great.
it's important that we fill the campground we have there now. And the site is in desperate need of trees. We need to get some trees growing out there. So this makes a lot of sense, get some trees planted, and once we start filling the campground we have, expand it from there on.
All right, any other questions raised? Councillor McLean?
No questions. I'm just prepared to make a motion.
All right, very well.
That council approves the defunding of the Trout Pond Campground Expansion Project. two at the same time? No, yeah, you got to vote.
Yeah, that's right. Should be two separate motions. Correct. All right, motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Someone prepared to make the second motion. Councilor McLean. Oh, sir, Councilor Rudd's chimed in. Councilor Rudd.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I'm prepared to make a motion. The council approves the use of the $126,500 of the West Trail Expansion Fund's capital reserves to meet the town's funding commitment for the 2 billion tree program grant.
All right, thank you. Motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. On to item 7.5, proposed renewal, sign and authorization of municipal documents. Mr. Tebow.
So this is one of our renewals that just happened because of time passing by. There's been no adjustments recommended, so it's coming forward exactly the way it was before. Ms. Van Ham is here if there is any questions around it.
All right, thank you. Any questions arising? All right, so prepared to make a motion. Councilor McLean.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that council adopts the signing or authorization of municipal documents ADM-10 as presented.
All right, thank you. Motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 7.6, proposed land sale policy. Mr. Tebow.
Much like the last one, there's no adjustments to this one other than there's a fairly significant formatting adjustment, but none of the content had any proposed changes to it. So
All right, thank you.
Amy Allred is here if there's questions.
Any questions arising? Someone prepared to make the required motion? Councilor Firth.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move the council authorizes the proposed land sale policy Econ-1 as presented.
All right, thank you. Motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 7.7, third quarter financial statements. Mr. Tebow.
These statements did go to the audit committee. Mr. Orwa is here to field any questions, should there be any. And as usual, Mr. Orwa likes to rely on the folks that were in the committee to assist with any explanation.
All right, thank you. Mr. Orwa.
Well, thank you very much. I think there's nothing much to add, but before you is the third quarter financial statements, and at this point, I normally like giving it back to the audit committee members to share the good news.
All right, thank you. Councilor Beckering.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I'm on the audit committee, so is the mayor, so is Councilor Sorensen, and we had a lengthy hour-and-a-half meeting the other day, and it was and Mr. Tebow was there also, of course. We had a lengthy hour-and-a-half meeting, and Mr. Orwa did a tremendous job explaining to us common folk what it's all about, and we're sitting pretty good financially. That's all I can say.
Absolutely, thank you. And Councilor Sorensen is not here to reiterate, but that's exactly accurate, what Councilor Beckering is saying. And we're in good shape overall, and thanks to Mr. Orwa and Donna and the financial team, we are in great shape at the moment and look forward to continued financial stability. All right, no motion required in that regard. Unless there's any other questions, we will move on to item 7.8, information for council. Mr. Tebow.
So again, Mr. Mayor and Council, there's no motion required for this. It's information. Item number 1 is speaking to, I believe it was Councilor Sorensen's request on the standing item to look at a stormwater capabilities of 53rd and 64th. So that information is here. I think Mr. Scheer could speak to any of that if there was something that needed to be discussed further. And item number 2 is the traffic committee meeting minutes that are in front of you.
All right, thank you. Any questions arising? All right, none whatsoever. Okay, no motion required on that one either. On to item 7.9, standing item council requests. Mr. Tebow.
Okay, this list would now be completed with the information that was presented in the last whatever it was, 7.8. It would be totally awesome if this list were to stay this way, but I understand that perhaps that might not be the case. So, council, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you. Any standing council item requests? Councillor Firth?
Sorry, Mr. Tebow. We had some coffee with council sessions, and one of the things that came out of that was Ms. Krista Douglas brought to our attention the accessibility or lack of accessibility, I guess, of some of our facilities in town, and the Civic Center auditorium is the one that she mentioned. And so I'm bringing it forward. The mention was that the existing lift that's there is okay for people in wheelchairs if they're seated, but sometimes when there's an event, there's nobody around to run the lift. There's a ramp that's at the back, but it's quite steep, and there's no signage directing people to that ramp. So if you know it's there, it's fine, but yeah, it can be quite challenging for people with mobility issues to access the main area of the Civic Center auditorium. So I have a motion, unless anybody would like to discuss anything further.
I believe Councillor Rudd had a question also, but we will certainly entertain your motion, Councillor Firth. Councillor Rudd?
I was gonna bring up some other information that came forward at that,
Okay, very well.
coffee with council regarding cats.
Oh, okay.
That's a different issue.
All right, so we can
We'll
deal with
do
that
that
after we
next.
get through the
Yes,
wheelchair
please.
accessible for it.
We'll
Very
just
good,
finish
all
it.
right.
That's all right.
I just had one other question. Sorry, Councillor Firth. Councillor Bruin?
Just recollection, did we not replace that chairlift just a few years ago?
We did, actually, about 5 years ago, I believe it was, yeah.
So what, we didn't put the right one in, or?
No, I don't think it's that. I think the general consensus was it's maybe not as solid as it could be or should be, and or somebody. I believe Councillor Rudd has used that on occasion, right? So maybe you can chime in on that one.
Yeah, if you're riding that thing down, I've taken people down on wheelchairs on that. So when the ramp comes down and you can put the wheelchair person on board and then you climb on board, then you just need to hang on to that wheelchair to make sure, because there's some movement to it. I didn't have any difficulty with it, but I can see if that was some older person wheeling their spouse down there, that they may have difficulty in the balance. I don't know what the solution is for that. It didn't buck me off or anything like that. So, but you just need to use caution, and I hope people would use caution. So,
All right, thank you. Councillor Beckering?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think we should listen to the motion first, and then we can decide.
We can
what
do
the
that,
administration should be doing.
absolutely. Thank you. Councillor Firth?
Thanks. I move that council directs administration to investigate increased accessibility options for the Civic Center auditorium, as well as grant funding. For example, signage for a back ramp, elevator ramp near the front doors, etc.
All right, thank you. Motion on the table. Councillor Rudd?
friendly amendment to include a sign as well on how to contact the caretaker when events are taking place, so that if somebody wants to use the ramp, then they can phone the cell number, because there's always somebody around, they're just not readily available. So just put a sign up for that as well. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Amended motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. All right, Councillor Rudd, you had another feral cat.
Well, yeah,
Question?
you were present for the discussion, as were a couple of us here, but the last council meeting, we did give direction to administration to do some work on that. What we discovered at the meeting was that the previous cat bylaw that we had in place had been repealed. So there's no legislation or no local bylaw on controlling cats. I think we're maybe going to have to start from scratch if we're going to do something. If we're going to take the work that far, and I think we need to And I just can't remember the direction that administration received last time. It was something about identifying cats and,
So I can speak a bit to that. There was a program that I had knowledge of. This is just an external program to look after the
last
feral
chance
cat.
cat wrench.
No, that's not the folks.
Little different.
I have reached out. I can't. The name escapes me right now, but I have reached out to them. They're from Calgary, and they come in and they perform a feral cat program. So I was seeking, cost per cat, what's involved in their actual program. So they were putting together a bit of a blurb for us to revisit. It wasn't talking about bringing a cat bylaw back in place. It was just looking after that feral cat population with an external contractor.
Okay. I think with that, then perhaps I'll hold off on this until we get that report back and see if that's gonna move us towards a solution. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other questions or any other comments, standing council items related? Councilor Beckering?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Might as well join the group, I guess. At that same coffee with council meeting was a concern brought up by a citizen, I think rightly so, about the garbage cans in the back alleys that are not being picked up after the time limit required once they're cleaned or once they're empty. And there's considerable concern about that, and also the Taber Special Needs Director was there, and she said once in a while, the handy bus can't even go through the back alley because the garbage cans are in the way because they're not being picked up. So I'm just wondering, I guess, what administration is doing regarding enforcement. I know there's been some warnings given out and some warning stickers put on garbage cans and waste cans, but can we do a little more? Suggestion, Mr. Mayor. Can we do a little more in regards to monitoring that, or can we not?
All right, thank you. I can just add a little bit to that, Mr. Tebow, so it's not totally on your shoulders, but it's because I did receive several complaints in that same area last year. And I did address that with Mr. Tebow, and who also addressed that with the police service and the bylaw, and I believe it improved for a time as per our resident indicated as well, correct? So the bottom line is people are very aware. This is now 6 years into this program, I believe, Mr. Scheer, is that correct? So, the first year we were very, very good about doing the warnings and that sort of thing. And I think Mr. Scheer and our leasers indicated in the past there's a number of frequent flyers that we have to deal with regularly, right? I don't know if that's an area you're dealing with previous, Mr. Scheer, but it's basically between the 52nd and 5400 block location off 54th Street, the back alley to the east there is the area we're talking about. But I know that's not the only area that Mr. Tebow and I spoke about last year. There was, I think, 3 areas we talked about. That was one of them. So the word was passed on to the bylaw. I believe that was dealt with, but I guess further to Councillor Beckering's comments, he's absolutely right. And the resident we spoke to at Coffee with Council was less than pleased, and justifiably so, for the lack of attention to that area. So I don't know what the answer is exactly, but it seems to me that was addressed temporarily, but not completely. Mr. Tebow?
So it is a bylaw matter. Administration can certainly reach out to bylaw and reiterate. Outside of that, there's not a lot directly administration can affect there.
All right, thank you. Mr. Scheer?
Yeah, we've known of those concerns for a while, but there is one other thing council could do. You could pass a motion to have front pickup in there, in that area, so they will bring their cans in every night. Seems like front pickup, no matter what, people always bring their carts in. So we could pass a motion to say that area is front pickup.
Yeah, thank you for that, Mr. I think that came up. I think I commented on that at a Coffee with Council. I believe there's 2 or 3 areas in town that asked for that previous. Is that correct?
That's correct. In fact, the town of Coaldale went to the entire city, the town, as front pickup because nobody brought their carts in.
I see. Okay. I guess the question is, so is it our policy if a block wants that from their alley to the front side that all on that block are required to be part of it?
Majority. We would
Majority?
go with the majority if they wanted that. We could do front
You
pickup,
would go with
yes.
that and
Or
just
through
advise
council's
everybody
motion or-
accordingly?
yeah.
Okay. Okay, so that's an option. All right, thank you. Councillor Runn? All right, thank you. Councillor Bruin?
If we go to front pickup and some do, some don't, your garbage truck is then going around the front to pick up garbage and then going in the back alley to pick up garbage. I have noticed quite a few streets where some people decide they're doing front, but it's supposed to be back alley pickup. So does that not extra cost the town to make the extra trips, or how do we monitor that? It's not a concern?
No, it's not a concern. So they're going down one side of the lane, turning around, coming back to the other side pickup. It's the same on a street. You're going down one side, you're coming around, you're picking up on the other side.
But if you have people in the back alley using the back alley, then 2 or 3 on that block decide they want to use front.
No, we have to have the whole block. The only reason we do that is because maybe they have disabilities.
Okay, because I
You will
have
see
noticed
that,
that where
yes.
some people are putting it at the front.
So when they have a disability and ask for that to come forward, then we grant that request. And that's because of their disability.
Okay, I know some that don't have disabilities are still doing it, but they're not supposed to.
They're not supposed to.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, it's, Mr. Scheer, I think, Coaldale has maybe well, you're from Coaldale, so you could speak to that. They had the 2-bin system for the longest time, now 3. They followed our lead with that, correct? But I wasn't familiar with that. So just in the last year or two, they changed that to
They
all
changed
front
it to
pickup?
all front because nobody would bring in their cars. And they were having issues grading the lanes for drainage, everything like that. And it just cleared up all those issues. And
All
it seems
right.
like everybody gets on the neighbor's case when they don't bring in their cards.
I'm just wondering, in all fairness, if we're going to consider that, in all fairness, if it would not be more appropriate to send out some kind of a survey format for people that do have alley pickup locations as opposed to front side pickup. I mean, that seems to be a fairly major change. I mean, we could do it, absolutely, but because it's been going on for 6 years, I don't know. Is that fair and reasonable without some kind of consultation? I guess that's my ask.
Oh, no, we would have some consultation and show them reasons why. We have tons of pictures, like, as you know.
Right.
Garbage,
Yeah.
recycling, organics, everything in the lane, tipped over.
Yeah,
That's
you
where
know,
the messes come from.
in my area, I mean, we don't have alley pickup. We don't have an alley, but it's like it's just kind of like a no-brainer. It's out for the day and it's back into your yard. You know, it works pretty well. But I'm not sure that would work in all locations necessarily. But it's the old story. Chains is one part of that. But we could certainly look at that. So, Mr. Tebow, any other suggestions that way?
My only suggestion would be if council wishes to have some sort of a public engagement, that we have a motion that suggests that, then administration can go away and do what we need to do and come back.
All right, thank you, Councillor Beckering.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I prefer the front pickup through the whole town. And wouldn't add any cost to us. I do not much care for, have some in the back and some in the front. And I know people with disabilities, they should be entitled to put in the front, and they can't get to the back alley. But I think there's an added cost if you have half the block front, half the block back. So I would prefer a front pickup completely through the whole town. Now, do our contractors, are they in agreement with that, Mr. Scheer?
No, actually, it was their suggestion that we go that direction.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm prepared to make a motion that council directs administration to investigate the feasibility of front pickup of all carts and also have some public involvement regarding wishes.
All right, thank you, Councillor Bruin.
There's motion for discussion now, but I'm actually the opposite of Councillor Becker, and I prefer the back alley pickup. I think the front pickup can get in the way of parking, and depends what time of the day people are going to work or leaving. I personally don't like them in the front of the house. I prefer the back alley.
All
That's
right,
my
All right.
thoughts.
thank you, Councillor Beckering.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilor Bruin, you can vote against the motion, and I can see your viewpoint also, but I still think that we should study the feasibility of it anyway, but thank you.
All right, thank you, fair enough, Councillor Rudd.
Just for discussion or comment, from what we've had reported to us from Mr. Scheer and from what he tells us about the contractors and the photo evidence that he has, I'd be prepared to support that motion.
All right, thank you. Motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried, thank you. All right, any other standing item council requests? Evidently not, yeah. Okay, let's get that covered, all right. All right. Moving on to item 710, department reports. right, go through these individually. If you have any questions, please stop me accordingly. Engineering and Public Works Department report. Public Works Treatment Facilities report. Finance Department report. CAO Department report. Councilor Rudd?
I think we went by it. Report just about the collection, the one with that little table in it.
Which one is that,
We
sorry?
talk about the commercial collection, you know, how much we're getting in recycle and how much we're getting in compost and garbage and such. So I was just curious. I mean, those rates that you presented in the graph, are they in target, or do we have a problem?
So, are they in target to what, in what context?
Well, I mean, I don't know, in comparison to other places, I don't know if there's that kind of data available, or if we're happy with the way the general waste and recycling and compost has been split up since the
So
program
if you,
started.
if you look at other municipalities, we're doing very well. We actually, Taber's always led the way, and they're showing that here. So, but what has transpired over the past few years, we used to be at 72% residential, you know, we're not there yet. It seems to be drifting down, inching and inching. And now with the new tipping rates that you see coming in the fee bylaw, we're hoping people will, you know, respond more to the recycling and organics rather than throwing it into the waste department, waste area. But yes, we're doing well in those. And, you know, the 23% for commercial recycling is excellent. Usually it's hovering around 18, 19% for most of the day.
Excellent.
Yep.
All right,
Thanks
thank
for
you.
that.
Councilor Bruin?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was just going to say that I noticed it has been getting, a little more general waste. It almost seems like we need another campaign about recycling, or the recycling, just because it does save the town a lot of money the more we can recycle. So
Yes, exactly.
it's something that's really quite important to the citizens to save some tax dollars.
All right, Councilor Rudd?
You probably already said wastewater, did you?
I did.
I just caught up to you.
Okay.
So again, we have the graph representation of our influent and effluent. I know there was a report available on what the COVID content was. Is that easily available to us?
Mr. Tebow, did you get that weekly?
Yeah, so we do get a weekly report that gets sent to me from Christy somebody, and I can certainly forward that on if folks are wanting to. I get it every week religiously. So
Yeah, I think that'd be a good idea. Just it's important to a lot of people, and there's a lot in the news, and it's kind of dropped off. The premier's declared it over. I'm so happy that she did that. But yeah, I think if we saw representation of that on the monthly report, it would be great if we could do that. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. Councilor Beckering?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Scheer, your percentage on this graph, is that by weight?
Yes.
It's
We go by
everything's
tonnages.
weight, right?
Yes.
So it doesn't go to follow that usually recycling is lighter in weight, in volume as a general waste?
You're absolutely correct. As per volume, it'd be more volume than weight.
Yeah.
But organics is exactly opposite. It's the heaviest
That's
of the
correct.
bunch.
That's correct.
So that's where you make it up.
So Mr. Mayor, if I may, so the
Absolutely.
graph gives us a picture, but perhaps not the full picture.
Not exactly, no. But we could bring volumes, but because we collect styrofoam too. Styrofoam volumes are very light, right? Yeah. So this is a good representation in tonnages. At least we started this way, so maintaining this way it gives everybody the same perception all along the whole recycling organics, right?
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right. Nope, didn't get there yet.
Your worship,
there
could
yet.
I have one more?
Sure.
In wastewater for that secondary clarifier, we did manage to get a grant that we're going to be applying for. So there is possibility through the Alberta Water and Wastewater program, we could receive 37% funding. But it is rated, so in that program, it's rated in 3 priorities, 1, 2, and 3. They're rating this one a 2. We're trying to make a request to make it a 1 because it is such a critical piece of equipment to our treatment process. So we're looking for council to help lobby for this process and help to get the grant. And we all know there's an election coming up this year, and there seems to be an abundance of money. So we're looking for council's help on this.
No problem doing a letter in time for that scenario, Mr. Chair, absolutely. It's, so again, I wasn't aware of that one. Is that something new, Mr. Tebow, you're aware of also, or
Yeah, Mr. Shear and I discussed it once already, and
just recently?
yep,
Okay.
pretty recent.
Sure. So you just would need a motion in that regard to follow up with that letter, correct? A letter of support, correct?
From council.
Councilor Rudd?
Yeah, I'd support that motion as well, yeah.
Okay.
So do you want me to make?
Well,
a motion? I'll make a motion.
I
I'll
just
make
have
a
a-
motion then that
Sure.
council provides support letters in an effort to access a grant for our secondary clarifier at the water treatment.
All right.
I mean, it's not gonna work if that's not fixed. So I don't understand the priority being a 2 instead of a 1. Maybe we can put that in the letter, give them an education.
Whatever works, you bet. Thank you. All right, motion on the table. Councilor Becker, you had a question?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will support the motion, but I was wondering why Mr. Orr was smiling when Mr. Scheer mentioned that. That's a lot of money, Mr. Orr, but that's $1 million. Exactly. Thank you.
Sounds like you benefit, absolutely. Okay, thank you. We do have a motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. All right, I believe I left off at, well, let's go back. Finance Department report. CEO Department report. Planning and Community Service report. Administrative Service reports. HR Department reports. And Fire Department report. No further questions, all right? Oh, Councilor Rudd?
Yeah, you missed recreation. But I was just wondering if, about a pool update.
Actually, recreation is not on there, so.
I
okay.
got it here, anyway. It's,
Okay.
Just wonder if we get a pool update because of that, I mean, we had it crash and then it came back to life and, but it's still not over, I understand. Could you let us know, please?
Go ahead, Brian, yep.
Yeah, so the heating unit for the main pool area is, the burner's cracked, and we're waiting for some, the manufacturer to get back to us on the repairs or the new unit. In the meantime, facilities is cut a hole in the soffits, and we have a temporary heating unit on the deck heating the pool. In the meantime.
How long does that last?
A bottle of propane doesn't last as long as you'd think. So I think tomorrow it's getting connected to natural gas, so we can last on into the future as we wait for the new unit.
But we're gonna be able to keep the pool open and operating?
Looks like it. I mean, this week with -30, it might be a little chillier on the deck, but it was holding the last few days quite well. We were actually higher than the temperatures we were getting with the old unit, so. But it won't hold this coming Thursday, I think, when we're looking at -30, so it might be a little chillier out there.
This is for the air or for the water?
The air.
So it's a furnace, basically.
Yeah, it's an air handling unit with the heater burners are cracked.
Okay.
All right, thank you. No other recreation-related questions, all right. Seeing no further questions, all right. No motion required. You got something else? Do you? Sure.
Yeah, actually, I do.
Councilor Rudd?
Because I was waiting for you to say recreation and then, so but anyway, on the ACE, Arts, Culture, and Events, who takes questions on that? Driscoll? Okay. What I wanted to know was, I mean, there was the Veterans Project this year with the, doing the stories and such. I had an inquiry from the UN organization and that there was a conversation with ACE about them being part of the project and they never got involved or asked to be involved. So I just wondered if we could double check on that. and see that, if the UN organization be contacted, I can give you some contact information for that, and then just follow up with them and see what it is that's, wasn't working out very well for them. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, nothing further on any reports. All right. Moving on to mayor and council reports. Councilor Rudd, can you start us off?
Yeah, it was a busy couple of weeks. It's a busy couple of weeks. I attended the first SACA meeting as we were invited as a council to send representation. So we were very welcome at that. That went really well. And I went to the handicap, TCAPs. I went to TCAPs. Stood in for you, so.
What is SACA?
Southern Alberta Canadiers Association.
Good, thank you.
And then I tuned in on the Alberta Municipalities webinar on the proposed new replacement for the MSI. It's the local government fiscal framework. That was very interesting, listening to that conversation and hearing how the Alberta municipalities formed a committee together with the RMA. So they were working together initially, trying to come up with the formula for distribution of the money. That didn't work out. Just too diverse of needs, country mice versus city mice. And so that didn't work out. But anyway, there was I'll just give you a few quick numbers here because it was interesting. There's $720 million going into the program for distribution, and that's 30% less than they did last year. There'll be $328 million of that is already decided and goes to Calgary and Edmonton. They get their split, and then the $340 million, or 47%, goes to the rest of us. And they're still trying to work out a formula on how to do that. They did come up with some recommendations that they outlined to us on the webinar. And what they're trying to urge the government to do is take 60% of that and give it to the municipals, and the balance would go through the rural communities. And that's pretty quick highlight hit for that. So anyway, I attended the museum meeting, a couple of coffee with council, and thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. Councilor Bruin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I hope you all had a chance to read the letter that our CEO sent out to us about the twinning of Highway 3. I attended the announcement in Medicine Hat with the rest of the Highway 3 board executive committee, and it was a very, very good announcement. She reaffirmed that the highway twinning between Taber and Burdett will be starting this spring. She did make a comment where she was going to commit that all of Highway 3 would be twinned within the next 10 years. At least studied, which to twin it all in 10 years would be quite a project, but we've had a very good feeling from it. I did chat with Mrs. Our Premier for a few minutes and thanked her for all the support she's been giving the Highway 3, and it's very exciting for Southern Alberta to see this highway twinned. So it's really good news for Taber. I was wondering if perhaps, I don't know if it is or not, but is there a link to this on our homepage? It would be interesting to have that there so people know.
I'm not aware of a link on our homepage yet, but I do have the link.
If we could can we put that on our page so people can see the exciting news about Highway 3 being twinned?
I can certainly discuss that with communications. I can't think of a reason right now why not, but
Okay.
yeah, certainly.
That, and I wasn't able to attend some committee meetings this month just due to work commitments. I did attend one coffee with council, had a nice visit with Councillor Rudd and Councillor Firth. Sorry to say no citizens showed up, but we had lots of cookies and chocolate milk to drink. So I'd like to see more people come out to these events because it's a way to talk to us councillors and air your concerns. So thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilor Firth.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I attended all the meetings that I was required to attend, as well as the Town of Taber's Remembrance Day ceremony, which was very well done, as always. I also attended the local government fiscal framework webinar that Councillor Rudd was discussing. And yeah, thank you for sharing that information, because I think it's important that people are aware of those changes. And again, a couple of coffee with council sessions. The second one was better attended than the first, but Winterfest in conjunction with the Chamber of Commerce, which was great. It was great weather that night. And the Fire Department Awards just this weekend. And so I just wanted to say congratulations to firefighter Kathy Day, Cole Swarbrick, and Ryan Gilbertson on their awards. And well done to our entire department, but especially to those who received awards on Saturday. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Councillor Pickering.
Thank you. Too many buttons, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I attended the meetings I'm required to accept the Handy Bus Association meeting. I had another commitment. I couldn't attend that one. I attended a coffee with council meeting. I'd like to make a comment, if I may, Mr. Mayor.
Absolutely.
And give kudos to the town staff and administration, and perhaps probably also communities of Bloom people. Our town looks in really good shape for Christmas, and it really looks pretty. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councillor McLean.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I attended all my required meetings, and a couple of my kids attended one meeting with me too. That was always fun. And I just wanted to report that the library had their jingle sale, and they brought in, it was well attended and it went over really well. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And for myself, I attended a variety of meetings, met with Mr. Thibault on several occasions as well, as per normal. A variety of document requirements to deal with, several interviews with the media, including the Highway 320 and our ostrich extravaganza event. And kudos to our own Megan Brennan for her great job in putting a humorous, fun spin on that. And our donation of the 20 turkeys to the food bank. That was very much appreciated, and as I understand, has gone over quite well in a number of areas. Correct, Mr. Thibault? So very well done in that regard as well. I also attended the Legion Poppy Kickoff, the Halloween party, Diwali celebration, very nice event as well. EMC Church fundraiser, the Safe Haven Proclamation Family Violence Prevention Month. Also did a class tour presentation right here with the A. Ferguson grade 6 class. Attended the Legion Veterans Dinner, also the November 11th Remembrance Day ceremony, Winterfest as well, Chamber Initiative, as well as a jingle sale and a variety of businesses downtown that were attached to that. Also, myself and Mr. Oro attended the Calgary Kenyan Independence Day invite, and we were pleased to meet the High Commissioner, Kenyan ambassador from Ottawa, who was very pleased about our twinning with Kenya. I was asked to present on our twinning project, and I did that. And our attendance and our project was very well received, I believe, Mr. Arwa, correct, for the number of Kenyan representatives that were there, to the tune of about 1,000 people, I believe that was, correct? I also attended the LDS Stake Center conference. That was also about 1,000 people in attendance there. That was a very well done service and well attended meeting as well. I'm very happy to be part of that particular conference. Also attended the Coffee with Council, the Tabor Library. It seems to be a little better. I don't know if it's the daytime necessarily or what the difference is there, but that's definitely going over better at the library lately. And I was also attended the Tabor Fire Department Firemen's Awards / Christmas party, and that was very well done and very well received as well. And that would be my report. No further reports required. No further questions. All right. With that, I would just ask for a motion to move to, or reconvene rather, our meeting at delegations at 5 p.m. Councillor Beckering.
Also move, Mr. Mayor.
Motion on the table. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. All right, thank you. All right, if we could reconvene the meeting, please. And just before we reconvene the meeting, though, We do have Councillor Firth, Deputy Chief Firth, as we spoke about earlier, with her actual milestone birthday today. So she's 30 and holding. So if all are willing, if you just please join me in an official happy birthday wish to Deputy Mayor Carly Firth. And we'll start singing happy birthday for anybody's willing. Mr. Woodruff, you can kick it off as well with us. All right, birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Carly. Happy birthday to you. You're very welcome. All right, moving on to item 8, delegations. Item 8.1, 2022 long service volunteer presentation. Mr. Tebow.
So we'll ask Mr. Darcy Firth to come up to the podium, and Mayor, if you could make the presentation, please.
Birthday present from Mom? Any moves in there?
Thank you, Darcy.
The kids look thrilled, Darcy.
All right, with that, would require a motion on that, please, Councillor Beckering.
I think, Mr. Mayor, I pushed the button too soon. I think Deputy Mayor Firth should make that motion.
All right, Councillor Firth, you bet.
Thank you. I move that council thanks the 2022 long service volunteer for his dedication and volunteerism with the town's various boards, commissions, and committees.
All right, thank you. Motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. On to item 8.2, delegation Tabor Titans Charity. Mr. Tebow.
So I believe we have Mr. Taylor Gow and perhaps company here to provide a presentation.
All right, thank you. Welcome one and all that's attending on speaking. You can come to the front, please, and either sit or stand by the adjacent microphones. Sure, you bet. Perfect, thank you. All right, welcome, gentlemen. If you'd just like to officially introduce yourselves when you're speaking, and we'll just get started. Whoever wants to start first, please.
I'm Kyle Davidson, Secretary for the Tabor Titans Charity. Taylor Gow, Danny Weiss. And yeah, we just kind of wanted to put forward a little, kind of tell you guys who we are and what we plan to do. As we're new, we'd just like to briefly touch on and explain how our charity plans to work. All sports are a cornerstone in youth development. They teach youth social skills, teamwork, leadership, accountability, and other skills that cannot be learned in any other environment. We acknowledge the importance of sport youth for all of its added benefits. Our mission as the Tabor Titans is to provide relief for minor sporting activities in Tabor and the surrounding area, while bringing the community together through group fundraising events. We strive to ease the financial burden placed on families to ensure every youth gets the same opportunity to play the sport that they love. We will be hosting events throughout the Tabor area to help the community gather and raise the funds necessary to help sponsor youth sports. The first event that Tabor Titans would like to be hosting is the Tabor Charity Hockey Tournament with some added fun of a live concert. We would like to make a few things very clear from the beginning. and that everyone on our board is proud to call themselves representatives of the Tabor community. And we all take a lot of pride, not only in ourselves, but the Tabor name. Our charity and its events will directly reflect that. We assure you that we have taken every effort to operate our hockey tournament as its own event and in no way is a reflection of any past tournaments that have been done in this town. We have taken every effort in ensuring a clean and conflict-free tournament where we will not be offering any cash prizes. All of the profits made from this event, as well as any event that we put on in the future, are going directly to our youth and young athletes, as our mission statement stands by. We have a security team that will be at the event, all hands on deck from our 16 board members, as well as the volunteers that have gladly offered their support. We are starting to organize a well-versed inventory of all sports equipment so that not only can we offer to help with registration costs, but always in any way possible that we can give to kids that need help to play any sport they may be interested in. This is something we proudly adopted from Dr. Becky when lots of us were growing up. You may have seen us, or some of us, proud volunteers already around at some of the events in town we've helped out with. The Tabor Rodeo, Spider Entertainment Concerts, and the NFT Pro Fitness Boxing event, just to name a few, where all of the funds that we've raised by helping out have gone 100% into the charity, and we are extremely proud to say that we have already provided support to 3 local kids to play sports that they love, including hockey and volleyball. Below is a testimonial from one of the families that we helped out. She wrote us saying, "I just wanted to take a minute to let you guys know how grateful Cooper Jensen and I are for this opportunity, or for this charity you organized, and to have the opportunity to watch him play hockey for the very first time. He didn't know how to skate when he started. Without this charity, we would have gotten him to the rink, but you guys got him on the ice. You saw a need from a post that I made while trying to earn money through my side business and acted. You went the extra mile by not only paying for the registration, but to our surprise, purchased him all new equipment. This is exactly what our community needs. There are so many great kids who are ready to play but don't have the financial means to do so. So many great things about what you guys are doing here. But the one I most admire is that all of you have been raised in Tabor and area and are all vested in this community. So from Cooper Jensen, number 14 on the Tabor Royal Kings, and his family, thank you for choosing us. To the town of Tabor, the need for this charity is extremely needed. Thanks for giving a young boy a chance to make his dreams come true." And then she says, "Come out to the large ice Saturday at 10:15 to cheer on number 14. In closing, we would like to ask, as this is our inaugural event, the Tabor Titans charity would like to request your help in putting on a successful function. Through your assistance, we would love to bring our community a great event and the positivity and funds, and raise some funds to help Tabor's young athletes. We appreciate the consideration to help make our event as successful as possible."
All right, thank you so much for your presentation. Jim also have something to add there, if you'd like. You're more than welcome also, if you have some add-ons, additionals.
Not much more to add, just if there's any questions you guys had for us, that's why.
Absolutely, perfect. Thank you. Any questions arising? Councillor Beckering.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have several questions. The first question is, are you registered with the Society's Action for Charitable Organization? Are you registered at all, Mr. Davidson?
We're in the process of it, yes.
Okay.
We are almost there.
Okay, thank you. And is your organization based on Tabor and area, or is it just on Tabor?
Tabor MD, Tabor, close to Tabor Town, yeah.
Are you approaching any other political organizations or, any government organizations for funding, the MD of Tabor, for example, or the town of Barnwell or Vauxhall?
Not yet, we haven't. This is our first kick at it. So not yet, no.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Councillor Rudd.
Yeah, one of the things that we wrestle with is infrastructure and keeping things up to date and in good repair. And I'm sure you were aware of the difficulties in getting the small ice up and running this season. So, would there be an appetite at some point with your charity to assist with keeping facilities going and making donations to keep the facilities going. I'm not talking about this event, but just, you know, if we're gonna work together, we gotta work together, you know, for down the road.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so like in our long-term goal, we do have planned that like we know the town needs another ice. And if we could, you know, in some way help with that and make, you know, the big dream happen, that's what we'd strive for. And not just hockey, anything, right? Like if we need to finish another ball time or what it may be, just get these kids playing sports and staying off the streets and having a lot of fun.
So I'm glad you said new ice. That's, thanks for bringing that up.
All right, just to clarify, anything sports related fits your mandate and your vision and your mission statement, correct?
Yes.
All right, perfect. Thank you. Councillor Bruin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thanks for the great presentation. I think you guys are onto something really good here. I think a lot of us here appreciate the fact you mentioned Dr. Gerald Becky and all the good he did for this community with his help with sports, and for you guys to include him in your presentation. I think that was really nice. I think it's good, and I like the idea that it's not just hockey, that, you know, volleyball and other sports, and if your society gets big enough, you know, it's exciting for Taber to have another different standalone group of sports enthusiasts that want to carry on with this. So it's great. I think my hats off to you for doing this.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Councillor Beckering.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I had three questions. I just
Sure.
thought of the third one, so if
You
I
bet.
may.
Yep.
I see that you're asking for a waiver or partial waiver of the arena for 3 days. So I'm just trying to envision in my mind, how many teams are you envisioning of asking to participate? I mean, that's a lot of days.
So right now we have 14 teams entered already, and the goal was to get 16. With the limit of the ice, that's all we can do. That's all we can accommodate, which is we're anybody 18 or over. It's an adult event, but anybody 18 or older, male, female, you name it, they can play, right? But yeah, the goal is 16 teams.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. Just to clarify, I know, I believe that number came up, we chatted a little bit before about 16 teams. So Mr. Teber, are you familiar with that? Is 14 actually the actual number? Or maybe Mr. Egan might have that
I actually don't
question.
have that
No?
information.
Okay.
So.
I'm not sure, I guess Brian had to leave us here, but, or is he there? No, he's not. He disappeared. All right, so Brian, was it Brian you were speaking to on that?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, okay, I just wasn't aware, I'm not sure. Seems to me, Danny, maybe we've had more than 14 teams in the past, if we're not with some of the other tournaments.
Yeah, some tournaments have had a few more teams, but they've ran longer into the night. I mean, at one time there was a 24-hour tournament here.
Right.
We are trying to have the concert at the same time, so we're trying to stop games after 7 o'clock, so everyone can enjoy the concert.
Oh,
The band
okay,
as
so
well,
a few other logistics involved here.
Yeah.
Okay, so 14, you're topped out bottom line with your event.
We can accommodate 16 and make it work. It's just a little harder. 14 would be the ideal number.
I see, okay. Well, you gotta do what's good for you guys too, but I guess the town's gotta make it work also for whatever numbers are applicable. So, all right, Councilor Bruin.
I think the limit of teams would be your scheduling, right? Yes. And how long you're going to run the tournament, for what time you start, what time you end. So that's kind of up to you guys in a way, I would suppose.
All right. Any other questions arising? And just to clarify, I don't know if it's come out, but I believe your organization just started this past March 2022, correct? Is that roundabout?
Yes.
Okay, so this is fairly new, this group overall. So you're off to a great start and many more great things to come, I'm sure. All right, Councilor Beckering.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm just wondering from administration, of course, there's a recommendation, or an alternative recommendation about the community grant program. Is there any money left in that as far as administration knows? Because I think it might be close to being filled, but I'm not sure.
So just to clarify, it looks like this is a request for a waiver of fees. So I don't think it would be hitting a particular fund, but we do have money left in the recreation grant program, and I think it's a little more than what's being asked for is what's left in there. I don't know the number 100%. I wasn't able to grab that for tonight.
Just going from memory there, I wanna say it's $6,000 or $7,000 left in that fund, and I believe there's some council discretionary fund monies also, 3,000 to 4,000, correct? So there's those two funding us, but this is separate, is what you're saying. This ask is a separate ask, would not include those kind of funds, okay?
Yeah.
Thank you. Councilor Rudd?
Council Bruin and I were just wondering here, in reading your request, I just want to get clarification that you're looking for to have all or a portion of the facility rental waived for the Tabor Community Center auditorium. You're not looking for ice time, you're looking for just the auditorium. Is that correct or not correct?
We would like to get the ice as well, yes. Yeah, that might just been bad wording.
It says it right there.
Okay, there's
It's there,
a typo in that. Okay,
Okay.
yeah, I get it now. Okay, thanks.
All right, Councilor Bruin?
Yeah, actually, Councilor Rudd picked that up because in your letter it says just for the Tabor Community Center auditorium. So, but it's
Okay.
understood that you want both.
Yes.
So the auditorium would be for the concert,
Right.
kind of a cabaret
Yep.
evening.
Yep.
Okay, that sounds really good. At this, Mr. Mayor, I'm prepared to make a motion. Let me get to my council. Make a motion that council approve amount of $6,071.36 with the funds to come from the community. Well, I don't know is there funds involved with this because this is an in-kind thing.
No, we just said that.
It's a waiver,
Just
so
said that, Councilor Bruin.
we don't have to give them money for this. So I'd like to make the motion that we go forward with this and we allow this to happen. Simple as that. Like it's not costing the
Okay.
town money. And approve a fee waiver. Approve the fee waiver is what I'd want to say. So I'd like to redo that. I'd like to make a motion that.
Please do.
No, I thought about the in-kind thing.
Okay, no.
So,
it's,
council approve a fee waiver in the amount, do we have to give the specified amount there? The amount specified as $6,071.36 to the Tabor Titans charity group.
All right, all right, yes, we do have a motion to Councilor Firth.
Councillor Bruin, would you accept a friendly amendment that states with funds to come from the community grant program?
I'm sorry, that was a question. Is there any funds coming from any programs? We're waiving fees.
Right, but the amount is from the community grant program is the rec board's portion of money set aside, right, to waive fees? Is that correct?
I think I could clarify that. Actually, this is separate altogether. This waiver would be non-recreation board involved or non-council discretion fund involved. Completely separate if we elect to waive. That's a separate.
That's what I intended with my motion, that we waive the fees.
That's right.
But there's a budgeted amount that we waive for fees. That's
I
what the
don't-
community
no.
grant program is.
No, that money's separate, I think. Councilor, sorry.
Okay, whatever. I
Mr.
don't care where
Thibault?
the money comes from. If we're waiving the fees, that's
Okay.
fair enough.
No.
Mr. Tebow, that's correct? What I just stated
So,
there?
as is described in alternative one, is actually the wording that does what we're trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
That it does actually come from the community grant program. I just checked with Ms. Van Ham, and the wording is that way for a reason.
So this is in effect coming from the recreational grant monies that are allowable
Correct.
for the total
Correct.
$25,000 amount, I believe it is for the year.
Yes.
That's from that pool. Okay, all right. All right, thank you. Councilor Becker?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Whether the money come from the community grant program or not, I mean, the intent is to waive all fees, right?
Okay.
Correct, yes.
Fair enough.
But at the same time, though, I think there's a point well taken, because the application for under the community grant program is long over for the year. So if there's enough money left in there, why not use it? I know it's just a transfer from one to the other, we know all that, but
That's
you know,
right.
I think it would be beneficial, I think it would be proper.
That's
And I
right.
think Council Firth, you should ask Council Bruin for a friendly amendment again.
All right, thank you. Councilor Firth?
Did you decline my friendly amendment?
Well, I didn't really understand it, so.
Well, that was clear. So would you accept a friendly amendment to add that the funds come from the community grant program?
I will accept your friendly amendment,
Well, thank you.
All right, thank you.
just because it's your birthday.
Oh, all right, all bets are off next meeting.
Friendly amendment waiver motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Congratulations, gentlemen. Good luck with your event.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. You bet.
Nice hoodies. You guys should have brought us one.
I take an extra large.
We know that.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Call the recreation department, they got everybody.
All right.
You're part of that, Greg?
Yeah, I just was here. I wasn't originally supposed to be here, but my meeting at 4 got canceled, so I was just here for moral support. So
All right. Thanks, Greg.
We miss having you here, Greg.
All right, moving on to item 8.3, delegation Tabor Cowboy Poetry. Mr. Tebow.
I see we've got Mr. David Woodruff, who's potentially going to come up and provide a presentation for us.
Oh, just if you just press that button, and yep, red light should show up. There you go.
I can handle big buttons, maybe. So I just,
All right, Mr. Woodruff.
we feel like the town is missing out by not having a cowboy poetry gathering. I've enjoyed coming and performing for, it seems like it's 20 years, I'm not sure. But it introduced me to the other gatherings around, and I've been from Maple Creek to Lewistown to Staveley to Kamloops. Some of them are falling by the wayside, and Tabor is one of them. And I think that quality of life is improved if we have these. It's good family entertainment. We want to do something different and reach out to the kids. Once Wes Sugden and the Domalewski girls graduated and moved on, we have no more kids performing. I've talked to the teachers. We're talking to the 4-H clubs. Any place where there's kids, beef and the cowboy way of life has been part of our history, and I don't know whether the kids are remembering that. And I think that it's important to remember our history. We'd like to bring them on. The teachers are all over it. If you can get the kids off their devices, it's got to be a good thing. And performing, writing, music, part of my life. I really think it's great. And I saw it in Staveley where a teacher came up and had 5 kids, I think. Those kids did every bit as good with the poetry that they had written, every bit as good as any of us old guys do. And I thought, kids in Tabor, and they any better up there? Then I don't think so. I think it's the same animal down here, and so we want to bring the kids into it. If they do it enough times, I think they'll get hooked on it, and it'll be good. Other places where I've been, they have a nice glossy brochure, and the back page is covered with the business cards of the people who have, the businesses and the people who have contributed. And I thought, let's step that up a notch and have banners and signs, big stuff, like at a bonspiel or a tournament, so that everybody knows that Viterra or whoever is contributing. It's always been at the Civic Center, and that makes sense to me. It's a well-known venue. We want to bring seasoned performers from out of town. We've already heard from a cowboy poet in Winnipeg. He wants to come, and our own Dusty Litchfield has said, count me in, be coming from Stavely, or Granham, I think is where he lives. And we'd like to bring these people in, and with this day and age of the cost of gas, we really need to reimburse these people. Some of the performers, this is their way of life. This is the thing they do, and so we'd like to facilitate being able to for them to sell their books and tapes and stuff, so they can kind of almost break even. And time's going on. I've been on councils. I don't want to hold any longer. Does anybody have any questions?
All right, thank you, Mr. Woodruff. Any questions arising? Councillor Bickering.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, so if we would waive the fee, Mr. Woodruff, it'd be $1,297.
$1,297.
Yeah, are you telling me that if we don't waive that, the fee, that you won't hold the cowboy poetry?
My feeling is to have it, no matter what. I'd like to go ahead. Who in our lives have not had challenges and problems to overcome? And I think that when you go ahead and overcome these challenges, it's a good thing. Just make it easier for us. We're trying to do this on a shoestring. Makes a lot of sense. I mean, we probably, because the MD has given us some money, we could take the money from there and pay you guys. But do you feel like the MD's gonna host the whole thing and you don't have any skin in the game? I'm not sure that you feel that way. Besides, how many businesses are there out in the MD that we can help them do their business with our advertisement? I think most of the businesses that are going to be benefited are within the town limits. So,
All right, thank you, Councillor Bruin.
Yeah, Mr. Woodruff, you answered my question. The town is, the MD is donated $5,000, I believe, to your event. So you're, what I really concerned about, you want us to waive the auditorium for a 2-day event for the amount of $1,297. If you want to bring in people, that's up to you guys to pay them. That's you're hoping that they can sell some tapes. Are you going to charge admission to cover costs, or because you're?
well, I had thought of admission, and somebody said, well, that's a money-making thing, and I thought, well, if that's the problem, anybody who donates, admission by donation maybe takes care of the thing and eases burden on families. I don't think we're going to need the building for 2 days. If we have a few minutes Friday night to set up, put some saddles and bales in or whatever. If there's going to be a hard, fast drill, it can probably always all be done Saturday morning. But I envision it as a 1-day thing. Maple Creek and Pincher Creek had big 4 and 5 stages, something big. They're way smaller towns than what we've got here. And I don't like them because I can't see all of the performers because there's 5 stages to be. So the way that the Historical Society did it with 1 stage, I like that.
Well, I think it's a good event, so I'd like to see it continue on. It's come to council before. Councillor Firth in 2020 made the motion. It was declined then, defeated. So, but I think it's got to be decided how long you need the auditorium for. But I'd be in favor of something like this. So.
All right, thank you. Just a clarification, I guess, Mr. Thibault, a bit of this came up in Coffee with Council, some of the discussion with council members that were there. And just to clarify for Mr. Woodruff that what he was suggesting about a donation, does that fit the criteria allowable in your mind administratively?
So if there's not an admission fee where it looks like there's money to be made from a, sort of a private business perspective, then as long as that's not happening, it does meet the criteria for that falls into donations or waivers.
So a donation,
No profit.
so that would be considered no profit if it's just a donation. Somebody's
Correct.
offering, they're not asking per se But that covers those bases.
If that's what's
Okay.
happening, yes, it can't,
Right,
it
that's,
can't
I
be a
think
for-profit
that's what
event.
you're asking, Mr. Woodward, is that correct? Right. Perfect, thank you. All right, did you want to approach and also speak a bit on this?
Let Valerie say, she knows how to talk.
Oh, does she ever?
All right, thank you, Valerie.
Thank you very much, councillors, for letting us speak with you. We did prepare as a board a draft budget, just to give an idea that how we would use the monies, that we are not seeking to get a profit. It's more, as David has indicated, it's to give the community members an opportunity to perform either their own original poetry and song or another one's, and give them an opportunity to have the stage to do so. Bring in presenters and performers from around North America that could act as role models for them, and give them an opportunity to perhaps do some workshops in the future. It would be our intention as well that if there was any monies that we did get that were over and above through donations, that would be turned back into a subsequent year for workshops, so that we could use that if it came to a situation like COVID again, where we were unable to do an event. We would make sure that the monies were returned to whoever had donated it to us, or to a community group, so that ourselves as the Tabor Poetry Society would not be receiving any income or any profits at all. If I may approach, I'll distribute that to you, just so you've
Sure,
got that.
you bet.
And just some information on a little bit of who we are as well.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you? I apologize. I worked till 5:30, so I got here so please.
Thought you had a flat tire or something.
No, thankfully not.
Great, thank you. Need that.
Yes. I went to school in Grassy Lake, so with several Bruins.
Yes.
So as you see from our proposed budget, at the moment, we would have hopefully a little bit more revenue than our expenses, but again, that would be based on the donations that we would hope to get from government grants, corporations, foundations, community groups, as well as individuals. You'll also see under current, we only have $5,200 that's been raised so far. So it would be our hope that town council would be able to assist in part of that government grant.
All right, thank you. Any questions arising? You know, just for myself, it's been a number of years. I've talked to Mr. Woodruff about this a few times, and I've seen, I believe, at least one for yourself, Mr. Woodruff, when you were entertaining, and at least a couple others in the last 20-some years probably, but I thought they're great always. It's just, it's another, I think you said it, maybe a bit of a lost art that would be great to be reactivated in a lot of circles.
Yes.
So I thank you for doing that, and thank you for your presentation.
One more thing that if I can add.
Sure.
I'm sorry that Ed Brown, whom we met over here at a gathering probably 15 years ago, was on Hugh McClellan's Spirit of the West radio show. And he said, when my body finally got broke up from rodeo and I couldn't do that anymore, went to the bars with my guitar, and if you don't sound like Garth Brooks or Clint Black, they look down their nose at you. And he said, Eddie is a wonderful guitar player and a fantastic writer of poetry and song. Got a voice of velvet. And he said, I think we're missing out if we don't have his original stuff. And he said, they looked down their nose at me, and my buddy said, let's go to the Cowboy Poetry Gathering. He said, I walked in and everybody was accepting. And just, they thought it was great. And so then I
Right.
said to myself, I've noticed that at all the gatherings. Good people are good performers are accepted, of course, and those that are not quite so good and that's what I've been
Right.
shut in on.
All right, thank you. Counselor Firth.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to make a motion at this time.
Absolutely.
I would like to move that council would approve the waiver with funds to come from the council discretionary fund.
All right, thank you. Motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you so much.
Very much.
Thank you. Looking forward to your event.
All right, moving on to media inquiries. Mr. Tebow.
There are no media inquiries that we're aware of.
No media inquiries. All right, thank you. With that, I'd ask for a motion to move into closed session, please. Counselor Beckering.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll move to closed session.
Motion on the table. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. All right, item 10.1, Counselor Beckering, that's yours.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll move that council appoints Mr. Joe Strobus to the Taylor Municipal Library Board for a 3-year term, starting January 1, 2023, expiring December 31st, 2025.
All right, thank you. Motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 10.2, Counselor Rudd, that's yours.
I make a motion that council appoints John McDonald to the Taylor Municipal Police Commission for a 2-year term, starting January 1st, 2023, and expiring December 31st, 2024.
All right, thank you. Motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 10.3, Counselor McLean.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that council authorizes the lease renewal with the Royal Canadian Legion, branch number 20, for the lands legally described as Lot 1-MR Block 3, Plan 9210703, property commonly referred to as the Legion Park and Legion Youth Center, located at 7201 50th Street, Taber, Alberta, containing a total of 9.18 acres for a term to expire December 31st, 2030.
All right, thank you. Motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Just need a motion to close the meeting. Counselor Beckering, motion on the table. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you.